production of SanAntonioHolisticFair.com.
Hi, my name is Teresa Morales, and today's talk is called Native American Smudge Ceremony. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is the very basics of smudging yourself and smudging another. And so I've passed out these wonderful little decks for everyone to follow along if you'd like to. And in case I forget a few things. So, in general, smudging has been with us for millennia, and it has been around since the first shamans walked the earth. And when I say shamans, I mean shamans of all the original tribes on the earth. And there is a common thread through all of the shamanic tribes, all the tribes, and all the healers and shamans, and that was to use herbs to cleanse, purify, and heal their people. And smudging, as one of the things that occurred, is it arose as out of a need of the people, and so then the healers and holy people would come up with something that would help the people move forward, to cleanse themselves, to heal themselves. So they, in the old days, in the days when we still talk to the plants, they would get information from the plants as to what to use in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. The elders also taught that before a person can be healed or heal another, one must be cleansed of any negative thoughts, energies, both physically and spiritually. And the smudging herb that I'm focusing on are three, which is white sage, cedar, and sweetgrass. Those are the ones that I have been taught to use and are quite prevalent in other belief systems. So sage, the Latin name is salvia. To be saved is what it, to purify is what it comes out in the, translated from the Greek. And it means to consecrate. So when you gather your sage, you're not picking your sage. If you have the opportunity to do this, and you can either dry it loosely, as we have in these bags over here, or you can bundle it like this, which I did when I gathered my own sage. And it can cleanse a person, place, or thing. It consecrates everything. It lifts negative energy. It will create sacred space. That's one of the things that I like about this. You instantly are there, present, and you can feel the medicine of the plant begin to cleanse and change your perception and perspective. And it represents, it's a gift of the earth. In the west direction is what it is associated with, and it represents creativity and strength. Now, sage grows on the mountainsides, and sometimes it doesn't have a lot of water, so it's quite sturdy. It has to struggle to stay alive at some points. I have two versions of sage. This one, which I gathered when it was fully ripe and the leaves full of resin. This one that I found somewhere that I bought, it appears not to have as much resin in it. It's either still very young or there was not enough rain, in which case you wouldn't be gathering it because you don't want to kill the plant. You don't want to take all of its life. And the next one that we're going to talk about is cedar, which I don't have a sample of, but I do have a picture of a cedar bundle. And you use normally the flat cedar to use this. And cedar is used while praying, which carries your prayers to Creator. And it's helpful in clarifying your intentions. It brings the good influences of the air, physically. It draws upon the earth energies and the divine energies simultaneously, so it's of a high spiritual nature. It is associated with the south and the direction of the soul. Our next herb, which is one of my favorites, is sweetgrass. And I actually have 2 live samples here. And it has a wonderful sweet smell. You would use it after using sage or cedar. This brings in the beauty and the sweetness of life and joy. And usually it comes from Canada now. It used to be in the plains, but you find a lot of it in Canada. And it's called holy grass, hair of the mother. And the braiding of it is the mind, body, and spirit. When you're braiding it, those are the 3 things that you are focusing on. So you would take and you burn it. It doesn't burn in the same way that sage burns, which is quickly and hotly. It burns a little cooler, but the wafting of it takes a lot less to get there. You breathe that in and you just, sweet. And tobacco is the third, tobacco is the 4th one. Okay, and the tobacco that I speak of is the tobacco that was grown by the Native Americans before the Europeans came. This was a wild tobacco, and it was uncontaminated by chemicals or additives that we find in cigarettes today. It is believed to be pleasing to Creator, the scent of it, and it is associated with the east and the sun, the rising sun. So the next one is this one, copal. The next one is copal. Copal is a resin, and it is from Mexico. This particular one is from Mexico, but it is found and used in Central and South America. And it was highly prized by the Mayan and the Aztec like gold. It was of the gods. They considered it to be of the gods, gold of the gods. And that is used after healing, and it's for initiations and clearing, final clearings, anything you want to clear. I like to burn it just because it lifts the spirits in my home when I just burn a little bit of it. And you use a charcoal, which you have to light, in order to be able to do that. It won't burn just on its own. You really have to have a constant little heat on it to do that. If you plan to mix your herbs, because there's another way to do this, and that is to grind your sage, cedar, and sweetgrass, and you can use it by lighting this and then putting it on. Then if you wanted to add this onto it as an after and adding more power to it, you would add this last, because it melts and it'll just put out your other herbs if not. Cleansing is about things like, have you ever walked into a room and felt something heavy, something icky, something not belonging, or something in your room that seems to be heavier in one area or another? Or walked into a building and felt that way, and that you couldn't stay there because it just didn't feel right? Well, it's in need of saging, it's in need of cleansing. Perhaps too many thought forms, or someone with a lot of anger was there before you, or negative thought, and so that can make you feel that way. Or it could be in your home, or even in your office. If someone comes in someone comes in and is angry and is just dropping all kinds of negative stuff, you can cleanse your office with this and make it lighter. A lot of people walk around with stuff like that. And so it's also important to set a proper stage and respect for the herbs that you're using. And no phones or other distractions is always good. And the setting the stage part of it is to have your feather fan. Oops, here's my fan. And have your sage. This is California white sage, cedar, which I don't have a sample of, sweetgrass, and tobacco. And then you have a shell or other container, because there are some native peoples, like the North Coast, that honor the shell in a different way as part of their belief system, and so they use clay pots because they don't like the mixing of fire and water. So I have a shell that I put a little bit of purified sand in so that I don't burn myself if I choose to carry it, or I put it in, this is a wooden bowl, and as you can see, it's got a little burn mark on it. And so those are the tools that you would need. And wooden matches is what the traditional way is, but we are using a lighter today. It's easier. Traditionally, though, there's always a box of matches. So a lot of us have been taught how to smudge, but we're not taught what it is that you're actually doing through the motion of the smudging, what your inner dialogue could, should, would have been. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to light the sage, and then I'm going to show you how to do it for yourself if you're alone, if it's just you at home. So when you're doing this by yourself, you are taking the smoke into your hands and you're washing your hands. This is just to clean yourself. And then you're taking the smoke into your head like this. You cover yourself, you cover it like this, so that you will think good thoughts and let go of the bad thoughts that may be lingering. And then you take it into your eyes, and you just, so that you may see more clearly, perhaps a different perception. And your throat, that you may speak in kindness. Or you may hold it and go like this, so that I may speak in kindness at all times. And to my ears, I'll just do this, into my ears. And the reason for the ears, so that I may truly listen and not be waiting to speak without, and not really listening to the person who has the floor or who is speaking. We are all guilty of that one. We're got a question, got a question, got a question. And bring it to your heart. When you're bringing it to your heart and you're by yourself, you can do this. And this is to bring your connectedness to all living things, to all that is above, to all that is below, to the four directions, to all people and all things. And then to your solar plexus, because this is your connection to the Mother Earth, right in here. And if you're a woman, you bring it to the womb as well. And another important part is when you're smudging someone or someone is smudging you, is they'll ask you to lift your feet. So it's important to lift your feet when you're having your feet smudged, both feet. And this is so that the dark side of your soul and the world will not follow you in your footsteps. You're getting rid of any negativity that you've walked on or is a part of you. If you're smudging with a feather, and this is using a fan, thinking the thoughts that we just spoke of. And so you would begin by smudging the top of your head. See, you're smudging the top of your head, and your ears, your shoulders, and you've already done your eyes. And you're working down and working down all the way, and you get your feet, which sometimes people, it's a challenge if you can't hold your balance. And the other thing is you do this. You must get your arms front and back. It's very important because of all the things we touch with our hands. And as healers and as energy workers, it's important to keep that. And then you go around this way, trying to get the back, down, and then bring it around. Now, by the same, in order to smudge another person, come here, we're going to start with her head, and her arms will be held out so that I might ask you to raise them a little bit. So we start facing forward, and so I'm going to start oh, okay, the wind has got it. So we're going to smudge the top of the head, and the sides, your ears, your eyes, your throat, your heart, all the way, all the chakras all the way down. Can you lift one of your feet? And then it's important to get the foot, and now the other foot. And now I want to do your arms. I should have done them earlier. So you're going to flick. And now I'd like you to turn clockwise, or sunwise as we call it. A little bit more so I can, okay. So again, we're starting at the top, making sure that everything is clean. And you work it all the way down, all the way down. And if there are places, lift your foot. Okay, now the other one. And if there are places, you can put it down. If there are places where you have felt, you can put your arms down a little bit, thanks. So you want to smooth out the aura, or the personal space. If during this process you start to feel that there are places that need a little bit more work, they're a little bit denser, then you can go back and gently just take them out. So I always also like to put an extra into the heart space, because we all need extra work in the heart space. And then at the end, could you turn? Thank you. At the end of it, I like to touch the crown, your connection to sky, creator. And then when I'm finished, I go over and I flick this to make sure it's clean. Okay, and you're done. So that is how you do it. Now there are other ways of doing it. I've seen people start from the feet up, so I wanted to just demonstrate the way I was taught on a few things I learned along the way. There are many different ones, and among the tribes, they have a slightly different way of doing everything. Their directions may be, on the medicine wheel, may be different colors. The language they use is different, but the spark of the divine guidance for the purpose of doing it is a thread of continuity throughout all the tribes.